DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here, and I'm tickled to death that you joined the show. We have Dr. Chris Reinhardt. We're going to talk about wintertime nutrition and water management for beef cows, for feedlot cattle. It's an important subject, something I hope you stick around, and more right after the break.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America, a place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Chris Reinhardt, and we're going to talk to y'all today about feeding cows in the winter. And Dr. Reinhardt is our Feedlot Specialist for the state of Kansas, but he's a ruminant nutritionist, spends a lot of time on cow issues as well. And he's over in Animal Science Department here at Kansas State University, and welcome to the show.
Great to be here again. Thank you, Dan.
Well, Dr. Reinhardt's one of our staples, him and Dr. Apley and Dr. Lubers, but we have a good core nucleus here at K-State that does a lot of work together. And if you're ever in town, come visit us. Manhattan, Kansas, the Little Apple. But let's talk about these cows. And one of the things that, you know, we always jump right to feed, but providing good quality water source is important as well.
We always say water's the number one nutrient, and they need it every day. A high volume and a high quality.
Yep, and I think it's important for people to understand that cattle will consume 3 times their dry matter intake in water intake during the fall, the winter, and the spring, and during the summer they go to 5 times their dry matter intake. So it's...
In the summer, we could do 3 shows on water. It's so critical. But yes, during the winter, maybe we take it for granted because it's cool, but they still need a lot of water to help process all those nutrients.
Right, and I think that, you know, it's one of those things, whether you're using pond systems and keeping ice chopped, or looking at the different types of water tank systems that are out there, I think it's really, really important. And even the erosion around ponds, if you don't move, if you're chopping ice, you know, you can keep the animals coming to one point, but you better make sure that's a point where you want them to come and get the water.
I like how you led out. We tend to focus on nutrition, on the feed side, but the water is absolutely critical.
Yeah, if we don't have proper water intake, we can come into some metabolic problems and some limited intake problems that are going to cause us issues down the road, and specifically with what we're going to get into with the nutrient quality.
I'm afraid you've seen some of these things firsthand, haven't you, Doc?
Well, yeah, we have seen, whether it's different types of water tanks, you know, that we don't prepare the animals or train the animals properly to use those, or whether it's making sure that we have the adequate natural water supply. During these points in times, if we aren't keeping up with it, especially in the cattle closed system, where the only water they can get, there isn't snow in the pen, they can't substitute snow for water, then we have to make sure that water tanks are not froze up.
That needs to be our priority, not just first thing in the morning, but first thing in the morning and all day when we get these really cold snaps.
Absolutely. Water, 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 and then we can worry about the feed.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to jump into some of the things about wintertime nutrition, and we'll focus on the cow. We'll focus on the nutrients that are available, and we'll focus on some of the delivery systems and things that you can do to improve the management of your cow herd. Thanks for watching Doc Talk. We'll be back right after these messages.
This Meet the Future Veterinarian is brought to you by Zuprevo. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Tyson Beyer, a student at the University of Saskatchewan, recently received an Amstutz scholarship. As a fourth-generation rancher raised on a cow-calf operation, Tyson grew up in the cattle business, and it was natural for him to pursue an education in bovine medicine. After graduation, he plans to work in a large animal practice, then move into bovine reproductive technologies.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer, Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher. Get the new hired hand for yourself or become a distributor. Visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
Calves require adequate, high-quality colostrum immediately following birth to receive the immune and nutritional support needed to fight diseases and thrive. Next-generation Colostrix colostrum replacer and supplement are USDA licensed to aid in the treatment of failure of passive transfer and contain natural maternal bovine colostrum antibodies against E. coli K99. Ask your animal health supplier for Colostrix or visit agrilabs.com for details. Colostrix makes all systems go.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Chris Reinhardt, and we are at Kansas State University. And Chris is over in the Department of Animal Science, I'm over in Vet Med, but together we work and direct the Beef Cattle Institute here at K-State. And Chris, let's get into some of the nuts and bolts of nutrition on these cows, and what is the most important factor, kind of lead us off on what we're dealing with wintertime cow feed.
What I like to say is one of if not the primary beauty of a cow is she can make use of a ton of things out there in the field that absolutely no other livestock or humans for that matter can make any good use out of, as long as we provide the extra nutrition to help her make use of that. The flip side, the downside of that cow, especially in the wintertime, is she has to deal with everything Mother Nature will throw at us. And we've got to, just like we talked about on the water, we've got to be aware of when weather changes, and that sagebrush and scenery that we've been counting on for maybe weeks or months at a time is not going to be enough.
So really what we're, the old Einstein energy is neither created nor destroyed really is into play here with these cows, because we're going to take energy out of the field and put in these cows, but the cows got to put it right back out to cope with their environment.
When we get these cold snaps, and especially if we get cold coupled with precip, we've got to take care of that cow, and that means we've got to get some extra energy out there to her.
So let's run through, what are some of the ways that we, obviously body condition score is one of those that I use when I go out and examine cow herds and look at cow herds for nutrition status and heading into that fall or into that winter. I'm assuming you do as well.
One of the challenging things about nutrition is, for the most part, we can't look at a cow or a calf and know exactly what their nutritional status is in general. But when it comes to energy status, body condition score is the closest thing we have to a dipstick, that we can look at a cow and know exactly how far up or down she is on energy.
So where do we want these cows to be at, and at what time of the year?
What I like to say is, by the day she calves, we want to be able to see no more than 2 ribs showing first thing in the morning. 2 to 3 ribs showing first thing in the morning is what we call a condition score 5. And that's the bare minimum we'd like her to be in if we expect her to cycle back and settle on time during the breeding season.
So really it's keeping them at a 5 when they calve, so that by the time we come back in 90 days to rebreed, that animal's at a physiological state in which it's normal, going through normal estrus.
Energy is probably the #1 limiting nutrient for cyclicity, for fertility. If she reads that she just doesn't have enough energy to both lactate and take care of that calf and cycle back, first thing to go is going to be reproduction.
Okay, and the last thing we want are the open heifers or open cows coming back out of that. Let's take a break, and when we come back, let's talk about some of the energy supplementation and practices that we can impart. You're watching DocTalk. Thanks for being here. More with Dr. Chris Reinhardt on cow nutrition in the winter when we return.
The BQA tip of the day, sponsored by Beringer Engelheim Vetmedica Inc.
Hello, I'm Dr. Nels Lindberg with Animal Medical Center and Production Animal Consultation. Today, on our quick tip of the day, we want to talk about withdrawal times. I've got a question for you. I'm curious if you're following your withdrawal times, or if you've ever had FDA come visit you because you've had a residue pop up or they're looking for a residue. What happens when FDA shows up is they've had a residue pop up at the packing plant. And from there, they just work their way down the line trying to find out where that drug was given and who didn't obey the law and obey the withdrawal. So it's vitally important as a producer that you keep very accurate records, handwritten records, or computerized records, so that every drug you give, you have the withdrawal established. Please don't send animals to the next producer or sale barn without making sure that they are off withdrawal.
Say this is a calf that's been run through the chute a few too many times. Going through the chute stresses cattle, causing them not to eat like they should. Luckily, Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ provides proven protection against key respiratory diseases in a single shot, with just 1 trip through the chute. Talk to your veterinarian about Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ, and soon your calves will relax and eat like a whole different animal.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Broadband has become as important to us as highways. That is why DocTalk is teaming up with NTCA, the Rural Broadband Association, and rural broadband companies like Blue Valley Telecommunications in fighting for quality broadband access through the program Smart Rural Communities.
I don't think we have any idea what's coming in the future. I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago what we're doing today. So in 2 years, I would guess there's things we can't imagine that we're going to be doing.
To learn more, visit ntca.org/smart or bluevalley.net. Norfenicol, florfenicol, is an excellent first-choice broad-spectrum antibiotic for the treatment and control of BRD and the treatment of foot rot. It offers a shorter sub-Q withdrawal time and is more syringeable than other florfenicol cattle antibiotics on the market. Norfenicol also addresses the issue of breakage with their new plastic bottles. Observe label directions and withdrawal times. See product labeling for full product information, including warnings and precautions. Fight the most common and costly disease affecting the beef cattle industry with Norfenicol from Norbrook. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
True Test Group, weighing systems, electronic identification EID, electric fencing, and dairy automation systems help farmers and ranchers around the world manage the performance of their livestock for ultimate profitability.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Chris Reinhardt. We're talking about cow nutrition in the winter. We talked about water, we've talked about wanting them to be a body condition score 5, which is a scale of 1 to 9. 1 being extremely thin and 9 being obese. And we're not going to body condition score me today, but we're going to talk about some of the things you can do as far as, if you're grazing crop residue or you have them out on dormant pasture. What are some of the kind of rules of thumb that you teach or preach to producers on these cows?
Well, the easy way to just get energy to cows, we think of grains in terms of their high energy content. The problem is if we're making use of some of these really low quality feedstuffs, which are tremendous cow feed, like you said, dormant pasture or crop aftermath, grains can be our worst enemy. A little bit is very, very good and helpful, especially during times of cold stress, but any more than that little bit will destroy the ability of that cow to make use of those really good, cheap feed resources.
So overfeeding grain can cause the cow or the microbes the inability to utilize the dormant pasture or hay.
Adding too much grain can actually take her into a further negative energy balance because she can't make use of that good dormant, that low quality feed stuff.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about what are some of the strategies that you like to look at or like for us to implore.
Again, we can make use of a little bit of grain. I'd like to keep it to 1 pound or 2 at the most for the cow. Above that, per head, sorry. Per head, above that, especially during times of cold stress, with or without precipitation, we've got to look to some alternative feedstuffs, some what I call fibrous grain byproducts, products of whether it be the ethanol industry, whatever have you, where the starch has been taken out. They still supply good energy, but not in the starchy form. And then in addition to that, we've got to rely on good quality hay to replace a portion of the poor quality feed stuff, which might be the foundation of our winter nutrition program. But when it gets cold, they need more energy.
So good quality hay, look for something that doesn't have as much starch like the byproducts. And so wet, dry distillers, does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you have available and can get use of.
Okay, and then if you're going to supplement corn during some of these cold snaps or times, then make sure no more than 1 pound or 2 per head per day.
A little is good, a lot will kill you.
Yep, and then, the other thing is that we forget about is the dominant cow or that boss cow, and so spreading it out, supplying bunk space. I know it's not cheap, but it's something that can help all cows receive the nutrition if you give them space and spread out that grain or that supplement.
You bet. Feeds are really our number one cost item on a cow herd. Let's make best use of them.
Okay. Well, let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about, some of the check marks during the year that we want to be at on these cows, and make sure you work with your local nutritionist and veterinarian on these issues. We're going to take a break. After the messages, we'll be back to talk more about winter cow nutrition with Dr. Chris Reinhardt. You're watching DocTalk. Thanks for joining us.
The BQA Tip of the Day, sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim Vetmedica, Inc.
Hello, this is Shane Terrell with Production Animal Consultation here with the BQA Tip of the Day. Today we'd like to talk about arrival procedures on newly arrived calves. This is a set of new cattle that just arrived this morning. It's really important that we have adequate feed, some roughage in the bunk, so when they arrive in that pen, they have feed in the bunk, they have a clean and easily accessible water source, enough space to lie down if desired, a clean space to lie down, and adequate bunk space so all those animals can get to the bunk all at the same time. Also, we'd like to look for how many cattle after arrival for a couple hours are standing, lying down, or resting. We're resting where they're tucking their head underneath themselves to identify pens which need more acclimation and more work in those pens.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Beef producers asked for it, and the wait is over. Enroflox 100 Enrofloxacin from Norbrook, now approved for single-dose treatment and control of bovine respiratory disease. With the same active ingredient and dosing regimen as Baytril 100 in beef and non-lactating dairy cattle. Choose Enroflox 100 when looking for an injectable antimicrobial solution to treat and control BRD. Observe label directions and withdrawal times. See product labeling for full product information, including warnings and precautions. Consult your veterinarian to see if Enroflox 100 is right for your cattle.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher. Get the new hired hand for yourself or become a distributor. Visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm here with my friend, Dr. Chris Reinhardt. We're talking about cow nutrition in winter. Now, Chris, we were talking during the break. I want to get right to this. Come 1st November is when we pregnancy check our cows, and probably while we're over the top preg checking, we're hollering out body condition scores. Talk to me a little bit about that as a check mark or as a time of year where we've got to make some decisions.
Yeah, Doc, for spring calving cow herds, that preg check time, late fall, is the ideal time to get a really good handle on your entire herd. And here's why. If the 1st of November, we're 3 or 4 months out from the day the first cow drops her calf, we've got 90 to 120 days to make up any lost ground. So if we're looking at that cow herd and we see a number of condition score 4 cows, what's 4 is where I can see 4 to 5 ribs clearly visible first thing in the morning before she's got a belly full of feed. And we can make these things complicated, but they're really not. If I can count 4 or 5 ribs, she's under condition. But I've got time to make up that extra condition.
And a body condition score is about 90 pounds on a cow. So
Exactly.
Going from a 4 to a 5, we got to put 90 pounds on that cow. So if we got 90 days to calving, we've got 90 to 120 days. A pound a day that cow needs to gain while gestating.
And she's not going to get that on crop aftermath and a little bit of protein. We're going to have to add some extra energy for those cows that are under nutrition.
So then let's talk about, okay, so there's a strategy of, and if we don't get it done by December, or if we haven't recognized it until January, we're too late, right? You really got to have the time back there at November.
We're too late to catch up a full body condition. We're not too late to make up some ground, but it's going to be really hard to put 2 or even 3 pounds a day on some of these cows. It's almost impossible.
Another thing when we were talking during the break, you said a good strategy for producers is if, the cows are, if you have some skinny cows in the herd and you have the fat boss cow, behavior can make these situations worse. So what are some things we need to do?
That may be one reason we do have skinny cows and fat cows, is just the dominant cow is getting 2 or 3 times what she should be getting for supplement. And the best strategy is to isolate these thin cows, these underfed cows, and give them a better opportunity to compete. The question that always comes up is, are you then going to create welfare cows that I have to feed every winter? And the answer is probably yes. But through good record keeping and understanding, well, I have to feed this cow every year. Maybe she needs to have her calf maybe even wean her calf and then move her on down the road. But without records, we have no way of knowing.
Right, right. So keeping good records, management, knowing your cows, body condition score is a key to understanding what kind of supplementation program you're going to have. Anything else?
Well, I'll just reiterate, body condition scores as close as we have to a dipstick.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us today on DocTalk. And Chris, thanks as always for you being here and sharing your knowledge with us. If you want to know more about what Dr. Reinhardt and I do here at K-State, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian or your local nutritionist on issues such as this. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. You've been watching DocTalk. We're sure glad you joined us, and I'm going to see you down the road.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com. DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.